Here's the part 2 of creating this tool chest. And if you haven't seen part 1, you might want to take a look at that first. So basically what we want to do at the beginning of this one is we're going to actually extend some of these parts. We want to grow out the section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these parts and do an offset. And if you notice, there's a thickness there in that particular offset. If I use a separate height and use the height of 2, I'm going to get this thickness exactly the way I want to. So I've done one, delete that one. Let's do this one too. Exactly, select the actual surfaces I want to offset. Again, we're going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to do an offset, use the same settings, and there it is. It popped it out. You can see now that those two things are set out. I'm going to use this one, do the same thing, select the surfaces, offset it, and we're good. So now we have that. Now I need to just basically delete all of these other parts that weren't offset. And once I've deleted them, I just mirror the new parts over to the right place. So once I've done that, I've got that part fixed. Now the next part I want to show is I want to basically talk about embossing a logo. In this case, we're going to use the new custom Moi3D logo that I created. Here it is. Shrinking it to match the actual top size of it. I imported it. I'll move it to the top here, and then I want to hit the E key to extrude, and I'm going to drop it down a little bit, and I'll hit the minus key, and that'll hide my the curves. Now I'm going to drop it down. And I'm using the translate button to drop it down here. Sometimes it's, for me, I just find it's easier just to hit the translate button. So there, I've got that. I can see through that it's about where I want to do it. I'm going to name that so that it's easy to select it. So now I go here and I say a Boolean, and then now I can select it right over there on the left. And once I've selected it, I can, of course, apply the Boolean. Now we don't have the right colors, so let's go ahead and select the surface. But now we have a solid at the top there. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on the front. Is I want to create the logo, move it down, rescale it. Those little handles are great for rescaling. I have to say, I love that. Then I'm going to go to a view, which using the arrow key here. I'm just using the arrow key to move it down here, and then I'll hit the E key to extend. And you'll see what happens. I'm extending it into the surface just where I want it. And I want to go ahead and do a Boolean subtract at this point. First I'll name it like I mentioned earlier. Do a Boolean subtract. And when I do a Boolean subtract, you'll see that, boom, it didn't do anything. And the reason why it didn't do anything is because it was seeing a thicker piece above. So if we look at it and zoom in, we'll see that we're not really where we want to be. So let's zoom up on this. Let's isolate that surface. Zoom up on it. And now I don't want to go all the way through. I can basically tap my arrow key to go there. Now once I've got that done, let's turn off our splines. You'll see that I did the correct Boolean subtraction, and now I have a great logo. Okay, so now the last thing I want to do is I'm going to just insert some handles. And if you'd seen the tutorial earlier on how to do this kind of a treatment, you'll see that this is how it works. Now notice I'm doing a trim here, and it didn't trim that surface. And that's the reason, because it's back behind it. Now when I do a trim, it will trim it. Okay, good. So now I'll delete that. Actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and create the correct radiuses for those handles. Okay, now let's do it again. So select that one surface and then do a trim. Now we just select that one surface. So now we have that. We're going to shrink the trim surfaces on that. And I'm going to just tweak it a little bit inside. I have to get this so I know that the blend is going to work correctly by shrinking that inside like that. Now I'm going to basically take this. So you can see I'm angling it back, and you can see it's perfectly level, but I want to kind of push it up a little bit. There, I dragged it up. It's a little too high there. That's about right. So now that I've got that done, what I really want to do is, next is I'm going to have to select the edges for each one of these surfaces. Remember that blends needs surfaces to edge. It can't just use bare edges. So I'm going through, I select these, and I select all 4 edges, which I didn't do in my tutorial before, but that will keep me from getting that little sliver that I had to deal with before. So there's my perfect blended little handhold for the side of this device. And if I group all this stuff and union it, you'll notice that now I have a solid. So now that we have the solid, it's real simple just to mirror that to the other side of it, delete that, mirror, and we're done. And then really all I need to do now from here is just go into Keyshot. And in Keyshot, I set up some materials and do a little texture mapping, and there you have it.